Something's got to be done about this right here. See if we can get a hold of the owner. Fix that for him.
Helping the neighbors. In Texas, we love living here so much. We take our dog for a walk every day and we check up on neighbors. It's called a wellness check, and Tracy wanted to help this guy fix his fence. And look at who's helping. Yep.
Hello, my name's Garrett from Roadfish Grill. Y'all should come visit us.
Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or invest, my team and I are happy to help. We work across all price points and specialize in helping clients relocate from anywhere in the country. Give me a call, 214-708-2450.
You're watching the Rockstar Diaries TV show.
Welcome to Rockstar Diaries Healing Out Loud with Heart, Humor, and Harmony. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You sound like a lounge singer. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Hey, we got Kent Maxson. You know what? To his friends, he's an award-winning songwriter. His music has been performed on international radio and TV, and he has won multiple industry awards, including an RIAA gold record for his hit single, From Where I'm Sitting, as recorded by Gary Allan. This is crazy.
I know. Artists who have most recently recorded Kent's songs include CMA Texas Country Artist of the Year Will Bannister, multi-platinum award-winning songwriter artist Buddy. What's his last name?
Mondlock. Irish songstress Mary Duff, Irish traditional country artist Jordan Mogay, is that how you say it? Mogay, and rising young country artist Alyssa Trahan. Kent keeps a busy touring schedule, performing at house concerts and small venues throughout the South while writing and mentoring young artists on the craft of songwriting. Kent released his latest EP, Max, in November 2019. Let's bring him on. Let's give him a warm welcome here to Kent Maxson.
Woo!
Hello, how are you?
Got some of those names, but we got your name right.
That's what matters, right?
Yes.
How are you today? We're so happy to have you.
I'm doing really well. I've had a good morning and kind of enjoying relaxing. I'm going to watch a little football here in a little bit.
Football season almost here.
Well,
yeah, we're just so excited. Hey, we're going to jump right in because I tell you what, to hear that you collaborated with Garth Brooks and that he called you the real deal, that is huge for me. And what I'm curious about is in the collaboration process with Garth, what did you learn? How did it shape you differently as a songwriter?
Well, I met him very early. As a matter of fact, he hadn't even, when I first started writing with him, he hadn't signed his deal yet. So for me, I didn't really get scared of him until he started, making multi-million selling records. One thing about Garth that I remember at that period of time, when we first started, was the digging that we did to find the right words. We might wouldn't argue, but discuss this word versus that word. Matter of fact, from where I'm sitting, what was really interesting on that song was we originally wrote it and there was like 5 verses, and we'd set it aside. And when we came back to write again, we were writing another song, and he started playing it, and we really couldn't remember all the things from memory. So I pulled it out, and we started taking this line out of that verse, this line out of that verse. We condensed it down to just 2 verses. And what we did is we got rid of the trash, and we had just the best songs, and it formed the story we were looking for.
I love that. And that's what I've been taught by mentors over the years is you start with a big brain dump, which is great. You want to get all your ideas down there, but exactly what you said, that's golden nuggets for any aspiring new songwriters out there, right?
Yes. And let's dive into this right now too. You moved from Texas back to Nashville, and then you got inspired and you wrote some music, and then this came out.
Yes, we've been reading it, and you are such a great author.
I'll tell you what,
very inspiring.
It's already got coffee stains on it in the pages right here, so
and teardrops.
It's good stuff. I mean, I like the way the synergy between you have the song on there, and you're talking about the history of the song, and also you have scripture meld right in there, just confirming everything. It's really well done. I really appreciate this book.
So, talk about your authoring process.
The way the process worked was I'd write out one or two stories that illustrated a biblical or faith-based truth that I wanted, that illustrated very well. And that would probably be between 2,000 and 3,000 words. And then I'd send it off to my editor/co-writer, however you want to refer to him. He's a very talented individual. You'll see his name on there, David Teams. And then he would take it, edit it, add some more words. So it went from 2,000 to 3,000 to 3,000 to 4,000. And then he'd send it back to me. And then I would do the same process. And we went back and forth on that, honing, again, kind of like co-writing a song, honing the best words, the best paragraphs, the ones that best illustrated what we were trying to do. So we ended up with usually somewhere between, low end 4,000, high end 6,000 words per chapter.
So in that process, I mean, you're a songwriter, and now you're an author. You know, you're doing all that. Was authoring kind of easy to do because you're a songwriter?
No.
It's so different. I know.
The stories were easy because I'm a storyteller. I mean, that's kind of, and when you're a songwriter, a country songwriter, you're going to tell stories. So that wasn't difficult. For me, the more difficult situation was to take the biblical truths that were in there and filter out the trash, for better ways to put it. And I didn't want to say things the same way they've always been said. I wanted to look at it from a different direction. So that's the biggest difference, I think.
I believe storytelling is a superpower. You're talking about your process of going back and forth. I'm in that process right now in an anthology, and those are words of wisdom. Some people write it once and done, boom, like even on their songs. And we believe that, you can always evolve and get better, right? And so I love that is definitely your superpower.
People learn in different ways. Some people learn audibly, some learn visually, some learn by doing, and you really need to cover all the bases.
Yes.
And so when I was trying to train someone, the best way to get the point across was always a story. And so, and since I had this background of writing stories and country songs, it kind of developed much further when I was doing this other job. So that when I came back the second time, I think I greatly improved in terms of telling my stories.
I love that you brought that up because I was a training manager for years with companies like Microsoft and Verizon. And I used to separate my corporate life with my creative side, my music, like there were two completely separate lives or buckets or whatever you want to call it. And as soon as I stopped doing that and brought the storytelling, brought my authentic self into my management and to my employees and to my students, it made the biggest difference. And now you see all these books coming out about storytelling for corporations, for companies, and that's the secret sauce.
Yeah.
But you started doing it very early. Was that natural for you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I told you a little earlier once that I started writing songs when I was 5 years old. Yeah. And I say that because it wasn't like on pieces of paper. I'd walk down the street and I'd write them and I remembered them. And I still, I remember the very first song I ever wrote, but I'll never sing it in public again.
Is that the name of the song?
The name of the
that
song,
would be cool.
Just a 5-year-old kid, was called Hot Dog.
Oh,
cool.
I love it.
Embarrassing. So it's kind of a natural for me. And I'm told that I tell good and interesting stories. So if that is true, then I'm very pleased and proud that it's coming through.
No idea where to start with a podcast? I see you. And let me tell you, you have not missed the boat. I created the 7-Day Podcast Pro just for you. It's a guided experience where we take your voice, your wisdom, your mission, and turn it into a professional, purpose-driven podcast in just 7 days. There's no guesswork, no overwhelm, and absolutely no tech confusion. You don't need to know how to edit. You don't need a fancy studio. You just need your message and the courage to share it. Let's get your voice into the world where it belongs.
About 10 years ago, I had a very good friend, and she was an award-winning songwriter. She was amazing, and I lived in Washington State at the time. And she moved to Nashville to become a big star, you know. And 2 years later, she moved back because it was, she said it was oversaturated. It was miserable trying to get in anywhere with the original music, that type of thing. And I know things are ebb and flow in life and things change. If somebody wanted to move to Nashville today, what would you say to them? What tips would you have for them?
I have a very good friend named Kent Maxson, and he wrote a bunch of things with Garth, like if tomorrow never comes, ain't going down, the sun comes up, and so forth. And they asked him that question, and he said, the first thing I tell him is don't do it. And the reason he said he would do that is because kids come, or people come there with stars in their eyes, imagining, no matter how talented they are, that's going to change overnight. And it is a tough, tough, tough business. When I first came here, they talked about there was a 3-year plan, and then I'd come back and visit, and it was a 5-year plan. Now they're calling it the 10-year plan. And what that really is you build up relationships, you network. You start at the bottom and you keep networking. Word gets around, and it's like, let's say there's 10 tiers of success or abilities. You start out at the bottom, and then if you're at the top of number 1, then the bottom of number 2 will kind of pick you up, and then you move up, and your songwriting partners are further up this ladder. And I know that sounds kind of crass and harsh, but it takes a while to make the connections. And I had a very good friend of mine, a very successful songwriter, tell me that every bit of business, not just music, comes down to 2 things. One of them is the relationship, and then the other one is the money. And if you think about that in songwriting, it's the same thing. If you have an artist or a manager, and you come to them with a song, and another person comes with a song, but they're going to make more off of that one because they own some of the rights, well, they're going to go with that one no matter what, if they're equal songs. And another example would be if you write a song and their best friend writes a song, well, there's going to be more of a loyalty towards the friend. And that's not saying anything bad about them. That's just saying the way that goes in sales wherever you are. Mm-hmm. So sometimes the best song may not make it because of the other things going on. So I'm not trying to be cruel or harsh or pretend like I know it all, but that's been my experience.
You're speaking the truth. We love that.
Yes. And you know what? After reading your book, I think relationship building is in your DNA, because when you talk about your Aunt Gladys, you made that relationship grow over time, and you actually ended up with the inheritance. I love that story, because you're such a relationship building person. And I imagine that's how you got your way around Nashville. And honestly, this is how we're building our everything that we're doing. In the last couple of years, it happened like you later in life, you're blossoming. And it's just amazing. Tell us a little bit about that.
I do believe that I've made some good relationships, but the way you do that is not by seeking to get a relationship, because then you're really looking at, and I say that in terms of, if it's strictly for what that other person can give you, then they're going to sense the insincerity.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So if you really want to build good relationships, you have to be sincere, and you have to go into it knowing it's a 2-way street. I have some very, very, very good friends that are far more talented than I am. And they're my friends because we hang out, because we enjoy each other's company. And because of that, when we write songs, they're much better than what I would have written by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And their connections become my connections. So I've just doubled my accessibility. So good things come to people who try to do what's right.
Yes.
You don't go up to a music supervisor and say, here's my music. It's really good. You got to listen to it. You say, hey, I read about you and I see that you like sushi, and there's this really amazing sushi place around the corner from where you live. Or, hey, what kind of Starbucks do you like? I'm being, kind of silly right there. But that type of connection starts with servitude and a genuine servitude. Like you said, it's not what you can get out of that person. It's what you can give to them. Right?
Yes.
Within the last year and a half, 2 years, I've kind of made a game of when I go out in public, like if I'm going to a grocery store and I'm walking down the aisle and I'd see someone, I'd say, hey, how you doing? Or, man, it's tough to make a decision on those, isn't it? Anything at all that just acknowledges them.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been blown away by how a frown goes to a smile.
Yes.
And I feel good about myself because I feel like I was a little moment of sunlight in someone's life.
That is awesome. We love doing that too here in Texas. From moving from Pennsylvania to Texas, her from Seattle, Washington to Texas, like there's a different vibe down here. The vibe is like you can go to the grocery store, don't know anybody in that grocery store, talk to them for 20 minutes, know everything about them, what church they go to, how many kids they have, what's their favorite food. I mean, it's just amazing. The atmosphere, and we love going with it. So did that Texas go to Tennessee, or was Tennessee like that too?
They're kindred. I mean, if you remember, Tennessee went down to the Alamo, a bunch of Davy Crockett and them. I have found that Tennesseans and Texans are very, very, very close, maybe second cousins. They a lot of same values.
We agree. And we're going to take a short break and come back with the amazing Kent Maxson.
Right back to you.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3,
Yeah. Whoa, man.
There. Hey, welcome back to Rockstar Diaries. We are here with the amazing artist and author, Kent Maxson. He's got a story to tell.
And, through some of my most difficult times in life, music and books have saved me, because a lot of times I'll read a passage and I'm thinking, I'm not alone. This person is speaking right to me. They've experienced what I've experienced. And it really, really helped me a lot. And you have such a story, and it's so well written. We're hoping that you can, talk about the book and what your main goal was for the book.
I appreciate you asking that. I'm told that the 5 most stressful things you can go through in life are: 1, death of a loved one; 2, a divorce; 3, a medical situation; 4, I got to remember them all, losing your job; and then 5, selling a house or relocating. In 2013, I did 4 of the 5. I mean, I'm gonna get them all out of the way, right? So in February, I was taken to the hospital with chest pains.
Mhm.
And they rushed me into the emergency room, and next thing I know, they're knocking me out. And whenever it was all over, I was told that I had two heart conditions, one of them being pericarditis, and then the other one, which was more serious, was AFib.
Mhm.
So over the next 6 months or so, I'm in and out of the hospital, test, another trip because of pains and so forth. And so it was decided that I was going to have two surgeries, two heart ablation surgeries. So at the beginning of August, I had the first one. And when I came out of it, I thought, okay, we're good. I only have this one more to go. And it's 30 days away. And then about 2 days after that, my ex-wife told me that she was thinking about getting a divorce. And of course, that kind of set me back. And then another 2 or 3 days later, my boss calls me and tells me that the company I was working for was going out of business.
Mm.
And that the last day of my health care insurance was going to be the day before when my surgery was scheduled. So I told the doctors about it, and they changed it where my health care would be good for another day after the surgery. So I had the second surgery, and then my ex-wife and I started going to counseling again. And around November 20th, she told me that she made up her mind she wanted a divorce. So I left the house that day, and I didn't know what to do. I really didn't know where to go with my life. I don't remember much of the next 6 straight weeks. I was kind of in a fog, but somewhere along the line, I knew that I never wanted to leave Nashville. I never wanted to quit writing songs, and there was nothing to hold me now into Texas. So I decided to move back to Nashville. And when I moved back, I ended up living with my two roommates that I'd had 30 years ago. One of them rented me a bedroom for $50 a month. And then the other one, they're right next door to each other, of all things. And the other one helped me store my stuff away. So I felt like a complete failure. 30 years later, I'm an old man, and I haven't progressed anything. I'm living with the same guys I did, when I was younger. So I would go at night, I'd lay in the bed sometimes, and I'd start saying my prayers, and I felt like they stopped at the ceiling, like they never got through to God.
Mhm.
And when you're going through a divorce, or for me at least, during the day I could find distractions, be it a friend, go to dinner, whatever. But at night, there was no place to go. There's no way to get away from the loneliness and the silence. So I would end up walking. I'd be up all night, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I would end up going out for a walk. And if you've been to Nashville, you know that there are no sidewalks really. There's like blacktop roads in the country.
Yeah.
So I'd wander around, and I usually ended up at the local high school's track. And I'd walk or run until I couldn't walk or run anymore. And then I'd wander back to the house. And when I was walking, you could hear all these sounds at night that you normally wouldn't, like critters running around in the grass or the bushes, streetlights humming, crickets.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that sound and that feeling. Well, over the next few years, I started rebuilding my life. And one of the things that happened is publishers started sending me young kids to write with to teach them about the art of songwriting. And so I was writing with this very talented lady one day, very beautiful young lady. And she told me she had sent a song to a major artist. And I said, well, what did you hear? She said, crickets. And I said, what? I'd never heard this term before. And so she explained to me, an old man, what hearing crickets meant. And as soon as she did, a light went off, and that was what I wanted to write. I wanted to write because I remember those crickets when I was walking. And what came clear to me was the very thing that I thought was God ignoring me was God speaking to me.
Oh.
If you go back to the prophet in the caves, they talk about God wasn't in the thunder. He wasn't in this. He wasn't in that. He was that still small voice. And for me, that still small voice was the crickets. So
Nice.
that was the foundation. It ended up being my first chapter. And from there, I started taking songs and applying them to stories and biblical truths. So each chapter, there's 13 chapters, has 1 or 2 stories to illustrate the biblical truth that I want to get across. And then there's a song, and there's the lyrics are in the book, but then there's a QR code where you can go and either listen to or purchase the song. And the idea, again, was to demonstrate this in multiple ways, visually, audibly, and so forth. and to be a witness to the God that I profess.
Amazing.
I got an idea for a song for you out of your book.
Okay.
One line you had in the book there, it said, "A feather dipped in kerosene."
Oh,
To
Where that
clean
came
the grandfather's clock. You know, that could have a lot of metaphors in that one.
wow.
I never knew my grandmother, my dad's mother, because she died when he was a senior in high school. But I always, was fascinated with her and wanted to know what was she like and stare at her pictures and things. So when I found out that she had a sister and we stopped to visit her, I was just mesmerized because I wanted to know about my grandma. And so I would go up there when I was in college on weekends and spend the night and talk to her. And she had this old clock. The story behind it was going all the way back to the early 1800s, her father, so it'd be my great-great-grandpa, 2 or 3 generations, would had this clock. It was his. And at night, he would bring in the kids. And there was like 11 of them. And they would sit around that clock, and he would dip a feather in kerosene and lubricate the gears. And every once in a while, he'd have one of the older ones do it and, of course, supervise it. So this clock had been through generations of my family. And I just, whenever she passed away, she left that clock to me.
Oh,
And that right there for me talked about the value of holding on to your heritage, your history, something old. There is more love we get involved in what we call love here, and there's that spark in the beginning. This fascination, everything's sunshine and rainbows and lollipops. But as you're with someone longer, it can grow stale because you start taking for granted. You get separated with this. But this clock for me represented generations of love. And that's kind of what I want to have with my wife and with my life is generations of love, something that I can take with me that doesn't grow old as I grow old.
wow. Leaving a legacy. Now, you talked about an actual object. It's the stories too. The stories should not die with the person. But if they're not written down, if they're not in our memory banks, if they're not somewhere, and my mom recently has been telling lots of stories, and I think I used to take them for granted way back when. Now I listen like with, on the edge of my seat to every single word she says. A lot I've never heard about, my grandma and my great grandma and going back. And I think to myself, all of this stuff, how do you keep it alive if somebody is not listening or writing it down?
This last week, my wife and I were doing our wills, and the money and all that kind of stuff, that's easy to distribute. But for me, the harder thing is who's going to treasure the memories, and how do I pass along the stories to these people that I choose so that it doesn't die.
And right here's the CD, and you can tell us where you can get this, Kent.
Through my website. And when I do live shows, I also have them available.
Recommend this one too. You can get them in the same places, right?
Yes.
It's beautifully written.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, I think it's time for a hard question.
The hard question.
Yes, and this is going to make you think. Okay, if Nashville disappeared tomorrow, where would you go to keep the spirit of songwriting alive?
That is a hard question.
We were hoping you said Texas, but
Well, if Nashville went away, I would obviously be drawn to Texas because of my roots. But believe it or not, I think where I would end up going is into the hills around here. We have a tiny home up on top of this mountain out about an hour and a half drive away. The civilization is limited. There is a very small town that you go to for your victuals and things like that. Sound like the Beverly Hillbillies there, don't it? Victuals. But you can have the guitar pools. We call them guitar pools because you pull in the strings, but they'll have old codgers, young guys, people who just play music for the love of it. And there's an atmosphere. You'll sit around the campfire, or you'll gather, outside the small stores, and you're in nature. So and I'm inspired by nature. As you mentioned the story of minnows.
Had enough of the bright lights, the sirens and the traffic. So I put my 2 weeks in, climbed down the corporate ladder, sold our downtown condo, bought a little piece of land, traded headaches and high blood pressure for these blisters on my hands. Now it's coffee on the front porch, wind chimes dancing in the breeze, waving at my neighbors while they're waving back at me. Was a big fish in the ocean and a gator in the swamp. Now I'm just a minnow, but I sure love my pond. We're laying on a blanket in the back of a flatbed Ford, miles from the city on a moonlit country road. Stars in the heavens sprinkled across the sky like sand. Got a front row seat to a masterpiece painted by the good Lord's hand. Now it's coffee on the front porch, wind chimes dancing in the breeze, waving at my neighbors while they're waving back at me. Was a big fish in the ocean and a gator in the swamp. Now I'm just a minnow, but I sure love my pond. Sun peeks over the water at the break of dawn. We both fell asleep, stayed here all night long. Now it's coffee on the front porch, wind chimes dancing in the breeze, waving at my neighbors while they're waving back at me. Was a big fish in the ocean and a gator in the swamp. Now I'm just a minnow, but I sure love my pond. Yeah, I sure love my pond.
We met some pretty interesting people on Broadway the last time we were there, and we have some video.
Hey, here we are in Nashville. We met some people here. We're asking them exactly what they think about the new Hearts and Sing single that came out last night. Learn to Fly.
Freaking amazing!
Oh, man. What do you think? 10 out of 10. All right. What do you think? She get a Grammy Award nomination this year? Self-proclaimed?
More.
Oh, man. Thank you so much.
Should be an Oscar in there somewhere.
Hey, that's just awesome, man. Thank you so much.
All right, well done, guys.
Okay, Hearts and Sing just came out with a new single last night. What'd you guys think of it?
Yeah, totally killed it. I've never heard like the way that the music, good. The audio, it was real good. Mixed really well. I've been listening to it all day long. Mixed well.
Grammy nomination. What do you think,
for
man?
Sure. Yeah, we enjoyed it.
That's great, man. So what do you think of the new Hearts and Sing song came out last night? What'd you think of it?
Banger.
All right, man. Banger. All right. Here you got it, man on the street right here in Nashville.
Yeah.
Woo!
I think there was a cover band playing it, actually.
Cover band over there playing it?
Yeah, cover band over there.
All right, man. All right, you guys are great.
Is there really a lot of fostering new original content in Nashville?
First of all, I'm told that there's over 250,000 musicians that are here. And I can tell you that the guy who sacks my groceries probably plays the guitar better than I do.
Mm-hmm.
The talent around here is just incredible.
Mm-hmm.
On Broadway, they're mainly playing for tips. It's kind of hard to believe. There's a kind of a statement or a story around Nashville that if you don't live in Nashville and you play in clubs, most people won't come see you, and that's where you're going to get your money. So you're going to be struggling. And if you move to Nashville, you can't live here. You got to go out. But when you go out traveling, you can say, so-and-so artist from Nashville. Just putting that tag on it means that they'll come to the club. So you can stay at home every night in your little town and play, or you can come to Nashville and go out and tour and make money, but never see your family.
Oh my gosh.
It's a crazy world. You mentioned Listening Room. I love that place. I got to play it before, and in the Bluebird. Those are probably two of my favorite places that I've ever got to play.
Yes.
If you want to play it, and request playing it, you have to have played there at least 4 times before. And to play before that, you either have to have had some kind of a hit or a label deal or something to that effect, or be invited by someone who has. So if one of my friends who's had a single or a release, then he could invite me onto the show, and that would count as one of my performances.
Okay.
So it's kind of a interesting little thing they put together there. But when I first moved here years and years ago, you could drive down the street and just stop in, and it was no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But it exploded when the show Nashville came out, and everyone heard about it. And that's when they start putting in these rules.
I loved that show, by the way. Did you watch it?
I think I only saw one episode.
I just love Connie Britton and the people that are on that show. It was really well done. But you're right. Everything exploded after that show.
I tell people, so I told you I moved away in 2013. The Nashville that I left is not the Nashville I came back to. And the Nashville I came back to is not the one I live in today. The growth of it is just crazy.
Wow. Yeah, the music industry just evolved so much since when we were younger. All the different things that come out now that we have advantage of, even be able to go on the internet and learn about who wrote the song. That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like way back when we didn't even know the writers of the songs unless the DJ told us. It was really not much reference how to get there. But nowadays there's 50,000 songs released on Spotify a day.
Yeah.
It's like endless amount of music, whoever wants it. And it's just strange vibe. And is anybody really making any money anymore doing music?
The record labels.
Yeah, and I don't even know how they're doing it.
Well, they own most of the interest in that. They control that. When you're talking about streaming of music, my wife always gets kind of tired of me talking about this. Back in the days when I first started writing songs, if you had a song on an album, you would get paid 0.91 cents for every copy sold. And so you could make a living. You had a gold record or had a big hit. But now you're getting paid fractions of pennies as a record.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, 0.00043. So that is not where you're going to make the money anymore. There's probably, for an independent, the most successful model they have is subscription websites, where you get a following that like what you do. You get them to pay a fee every month to have access to special material on your website. There are people that have been very successful with that, and you don't need the big labels to do it for you. And again, getting a record deal is not everything you want, because they're what the rights that they take and the ownership they take. Unless you're a Garth Brooks or someone like that who you control it all, you'll end up getting your piece of the pie, but it's not what it used to be.
Right.
You really got to read between the lines, because my old band Chasing Oz, we were offered a record contract quite a few years ago. And when we started reading through it, it read in not so many words that they would own like 50% or 80% of our publishing rights.
Yeah, I don't want to get too much of the legalities of a recording, but basically when a song is recorded and released, it's split down the middle. I told a lot of people this when they talk about coming here. There's two parts of this. They call it the music business. There's music and there's the business. And you can be successful as you want to creating wonderful music, but if you don't have that business side down, you're going to be sacking groceries.
That's exactly right. And that's why Taylor Swift and Madonna are so big. They both are and Lady Gaga, extremely business savvy ladies.
They're much more savvy than I am.
Well, we learned like straight, when you're doing sync work, you have to, if you're doing collaborations, even before you even get together in the room, I think you need to sign a paper that's split, a split sheet, we're getting so much and so much per song, that way. So that way there's not any legality down the road.
So I've been doing some of the sync stuff, and I literally will lay awake at night wondering if I dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's, because you can make one small mistake on it, and you will never get another sync placement because they don't have the time to correct your mistakes, and they don't want to be dragged into a court of law.
Right.
So, like I said, I have nightmares that I didn't do something correct on the legal side.
Wow.
Well, I know we're getting into the weeds, but a lot of people don't understand that, like a movie, it's in post-production at the very end of the process that they start putting the songs and syncing it with different scenes and whatnot. And so by that time, right, everybody's chomping at the bit for the movie to be released, right? Because it's post-production, it's at the end. And one of the music supervisors that I was on in a mentoring session with, she said, and she didn't name names, but she got a really famous rapper song on this one movie, and it was ready to be released. And all of a sudden somebody came forward and said, I'm a writer on that. You need to add me. And because of that one little piece, they had to rip the song and start over on that scene with a new song. And, and that's a famous person that made that mistake. So it's, a lot of people don't understand just how important in the process that the songs and the music supervisor process.
Yeah, it is crazy. And I know quite a bit about it, but I don't know everything. And again, you make one mistake and your career as far as sync placements
you get put on a blacklist because they all know each other.
They do, and they don't, you can't blame them. You cause them up to lawsuits, you cause them financial trouble. So, and then of course, for the poor songwriter who doesn't have tons of money, the only way to really cover yourself is find yourself an expensive lawyer if you don't understand it.
Yep.
So, again, like I said, I lay awake at night sometimes wondering, did I do that right?
Wow. We're getting so many good golden nuggets here today with Kent Maxson. And Kent, do you have any like parting words or more golden nuggets that you're already given? They're all amazing. For our audience before we get out of here.
Yeah, specifically on the book. Is there one thing, if somebody reads this, that you would just pray and hope that they get out of this, that golden nugget of a Bible verse, anything, because your story is powerful.
When you sell the books in person, I always put one verse in before my signature, and it's Mark 9:24, and that's the story of the father who wanted his son healed, and Jesus said he would, and asked him if he believed, and he said, "I believe. I believe. Help me with my unbelief." And when the whole purpose of the book for me is talking about hanging on to God. So I would reference that verse. And if you're struggling with anything, which makes you doubt or contemplate or wonder if there is a loving God, then I'm not going to say that my book gives you the answers, but I'll share what I experienced, what I have witnessed, at least hopefully open your eyes to consider this, and that to understand that there is a loving God that is with you every step of the way.
Yes.
Amen.
Thank you so much.
We wish the best for you. We hope to keep in contact with you.
Yes.
I want to thank y'all for letting me be here, and you better believe we'll keep in contact. If you ever get to Nashville, look me up.
Cedar Ridge Acres soap. Why? 'Cause you smell good.